Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy J this morning, John Cass, johncassnews.com.
Good morning.
As I teased, Field Marshal Tim Walz, some of you know him as Tampon Tim, making the rounds around the country. Getting a head start on 28, although he's up in 26. We'll get some color on that. In Texas, for a live town hall with Bobby O'Rourke. Remember him when he was the hot young thing in the Dems Marxist circles?
What are they doing as a theatrical device? Loading M16s? What are they doing?
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it wasn't an M16. He had trouble loading a shotgun. Yeah.
You can't even do that.
Walz taking questions from the audience. I mean, pretty good indication, or pretty unsurprising, the sort of person that would show up for the wit and wisdom of Tim Walz. Here's somebody who once upon a time would have been called an election denier by someone like Tim Walz.
I hope that y'all have seen the reports from cybersecurity experts that they've released analyses of election data out of Clark County, Nevada, that show some pretty convincing evidence of election tampering. My biggest fear is that we're not going to make it to the midterms. So what can we do to make sure, A, that the midterms actually happen, and B, that they're free of fraud?
Yeah. Well, this one's the core. We saw just recently Donald Trump's executive order to make it more difficult, specifically to women, trying to make it more difficult for women to be able to vote. We see one of the first things they do is try and restrict the vote. This is one of the things, though, that this is going to take power to the streets. And look, I don't know what the answer is on this.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't.
Power to the streets, huh?
Making it more difficult for women to vote. Does anybody care precisely how that is allegedly happening?
Doesn't matter. It's all about feelings.
I mean, these guys. And really, the midterms aren't going to happen, just like the 2024 election wasn't going to happen. And
when is the deadline for the Earth to destroy itself?
I mean, it's really something.
It was 12 years ago. About what? 10 years ago now.
There's just for years we got the hi hat on allegations of election irregularities, and now we get this from Tim and Bobby and their fans. Tim also, of course, nobody hates old white guys like an old white guy from Minnesota.
Pause for a moment and look around and look at. I'm especially talking about these old white guys who seem to disappoint us on a regular basis in this country.
Like you?
Oh, man. That is...
What's with the jazz hands, too? I don't understand
stuff.
That whole thing with him.
I just like the fact that Tim Walz is still on the scene and he's still, positioning for another national run. I sure hope so. John Hinderaker is the president and center of the American Experiment, contributor to Powerline, powerlineblog.com. John, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great to be with you, Dan.
So the Tim Walz comedy tour rolls on here. He's gone. He went national as the running mate, of course, but he's staying national. Is he ever coming back home?
Minnesota's gift to our country.
Yeah.
But Tim Walz, I mean, the man is a one-man comedy tour. My favorite was when he, in front of one of these Democratic crowds, he talks about what a boost it gives him during the day to check on the Tesla stock price, which at that time was, actually by that time it had turned around and started rising. He was a little bit behind. And then it turned out that the state of Minnesota pension fund has got like a couple $100 million in Tesla stock. And Tim Walz, as governor, is the chairman of that fund. And apparently he had no clue, which for him is very typical.
Yes. That's a feature, not a bug, when it comes to Tim Walz.
What could we do to ensure that he's the nominee?
Oh, I don't know. His political future is kind of up in the air. This is his second term he's serving. We do not have term limits in Minnesota, so he can run for a third term in 2026. And apparently he is deliberating whether to do that. And he has talked rather seriously about jumping into the presidential race for 2028. So we may not have seen the last of him.
Just because it was so novel, what was happening in Minnesota with this abdication of state legislators when things didn't go their way in the midterm, in the 24 election, I should say. What is the status of the balance of power in the legislature, and have the Democrats returned from their abdication?
Well, they have. They boycotted the session because one of their members got caught cheating, didn't live in the district where he ran, so there was going to be a special election in that district. That made it 67-66 in favor of the GOP in the Minnesota House. So rather than participate in the election of a Republican speaker, every single Democrat boycotted the session. They kept the boycott going for about a month, but my organization mobilized citizens, did a huge campaign and mobilized citizens to bombard them with emails. We got 20,000 emails hitting these people demanding that they return to work. They were getting paid. They were drawing their paychecks, but not showing up to work. It was amazing. And they eventually caved. The Democrats crumbled. The 66 Democrats showed up to work, and that meant that we have a Republican Speaker of the House in Minnesota for the next 2 years. So that was a win for the Republicans. In the Senate, the DFLers continue to have a one-vote edge, and their one-vote advantage is going on trial for first-degree burglary as soon as the session is over. So things are wild and woolly here in Minnesota.
Do they think they're in Illinois or what? What are they doing?
Well, that comparison has been made a lot lately, John. I got to tell you, I mean, we are challenging for the title of the most corrupt state in America.
Well, what's what is happening politically in Minnesota, thinking to statewide and federal elections too? Because you've got a Tina Smith retirement that creates an open seat for 26.
Yeah, exactly. And a whole bunch of prominent Democrats have jumped into that race. I thought Tim Walz might get in, and he still might. His lieutenant governor is in. His secretary of state is in. There are rumors that Ilhan Omar might jump into that race. I'll tell you, the reality is that the Republicans have not won a statewide race in Minnesota since 2006.
We have to fund her, Ilhan Omar.
Say that again. I'm sorry, John.
We could fund her, right? Can we do crowdsourcing? I'll do it.
Yeah.
As a refugee to Indiana.
It's going to be a cosmic primary. It's going to be really interesting to see what those Democrat voters do, and maybe that seat can be taken. The problem we have in Minnesota is that Hennepin County, by far the biggest county in the state, the DFL has got an amazing ballot harvesting operation going in Hennepin County, and with declining population in the very red rural areas of the state, it just becomes hard to catch up on a statewide basis. It could be done, but it can only be done if the Republicans have got a strong candidate at the top of the ticket, which in recent cycles we haven't had.
We were talking about it a bit before you joined us, but wanted to get your reaction to Brett Baer's interview of Elon Musk and company, the Doge Boys, last night.
I haven't watched it. I don't know. What did they say?
Well, no, I mean, I think it was just it was more sort of a summary of what they've done and why they're doing it, and then Elon addressed some of the other ugliness too, like all the attacks on Tesla properties and Tesla owners. But I mean, it provided more bandwidth for the viewer in terms of understanding the sort of talent that's been assembled here, and the really honorable sort of motivations of the people who are devoting their time and talents to this.
You know, Dan, Republicans have been talking about shrinking the federal government for as long as I've been alive, and that's going to be kind of a long time. Now we have an administration that is actually trying to do it.
We can't understand that.
It's unbelievable. And I think the clear majority of the American people are with them, and they're going to have to fight off all these Democratic Party federal judges. And at the end of the day, you know, the constitutional prerogatives of Congress and the executive when it comes to spending money are not very clear after all these years.
Where are we on that? Because it seems to me, I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but it seems to me that all that we're seeing is inexorably forcing the Supreme Court to make a decision here.
Well, I think the Supreme Court is going to have to make a number of decisions. Some of them are one-offs. So, for example, Trump's invocation of the Enemy Alien Act to just put Venezuelan gang members on airplanes and get them the heck out of here. I think that was legal. I think it was beautifully done, but that's something that ultimately the courts, I suppose, are going to sort out. But I think the fundamental one is the executive's powers with respect to spending and really being able to run the executive branch. You know, a lot of people believe that during the Nixon administration, there was a definitive Supreme Court ruling that the president can't impound money, that if Congress appropriates money, he has to spend it, you know, like it or not. That's the Train case. The Train case does not say that. Neither party in that case raised any constitutional argument. It's a very specific reading of two sections in one particular water pollution control statute. So we really don't know, and the Supreme Court, I think, is going to have to decide what is the scope of the executive's power, of the president's power, to really effectively run the executive branch, which you know, if you listen to the Democrats, Trump really has no authority to do at all.
Yeah, right. Not even his explicit Article 2 powers, but the other thing the Supreme Court is going to have to weigh in is the extent of the power of the inferior courts with these federal district court judges, just operating beyond what should be their limitations, as Clarence Thomas argued in that case 6 years ago, as Alito has argued recently. I mean, that is going to be necessary, so you're not playing whack-a-mole with 800 federal district court judges like we are now.
But isn't that what the Democrats want? Whack-a-mole till beyond the
well, thus does John Roberts's and then the Supreme Court's moral imperative to intercede here and offer a holding.
Exactly. What the Democrats want to do is tie the Trump administration up in knots so that when the midterms come, they can say, oh, look, the Trump administration hasn't gotten anything done.
Right.
Well, and interesting that we've been talking about it quite a bit this week. Boy, the numbers coming out on Dems and the numbers coming out in terms of where the public is. 45% Mayor's poll think the country's on the right track. That sounds like a low number. It's the highest it's been since 2009. So, you know, because we're a divided country. But those numbers combined with the numbers of where even Democrats think about what their party is doing at the congressional level, at least at this point, a long way to go, it is not obvious that we're just going to turn over the House in the midterms.
Well, you know, it is so close. So when the Republicans have like a 3-seat margin or something, there's no room for error. And history is obviously not on their side, but we'll see. I mean, you talk about history. There's never really been a history like this. You know, we'll see who's fired up for the midterms.
But I mean, but what's your take? I mean, and I wonder how this is playing out in Minnesota too. Obviously, Tim Walz and J.B. Pritzker in Illinois, they are tripling down on the lines of attack that were offered in the 2024 cycle, where others, Gavin Newsom is doing a 180 reinvention, and others are suggesting that we need to walk away from some of these more polarizing cultural issues. So the Democrats are really sort of leaderless and rudderless.
I don't see him walking away, though. Do you, Dan? I mean, I see him firebombing Tesla dealerships. I don't see any move toward the center, certainly not in my state. Our Democrats are just, constantly moving farther to the left.
One question I asked Dan early on in this broadcast is, why is the left so addicted to violence? Can you help me with that?
Well, I think it probably just goes hand in hand with their general attitude toward politics, where politics is religion, politics is what gives meaning to their lives, politics is what defines their moral standing. I think that kind of extremism is inherent in what we're seeing in the Democratic Party today, and it's a very short step to go from those attitudes to violence. My office was firebombed. The office of my organization, American Experiment, was firebombed a little over a year ago. We've seen this. We've seen this firsthand.
Yeah, well, and especially those that at the grassroots level, if you want to use that term. I mean, they're just sort of maladjusted, intellectually arrested children, is what they are.
Well, that's true. They're unhappy. They're unhappy, poorly adjusted people who kind of have it in for the world because their lives haven't gone well, and they seek salvation through politics.
But we also see them as supportive of a system that is heavily regulated, heavily, lawyered up so that the law is used as a cudgel and against the people who it's designed to help benefit.
Well, one of the strange things, of course, is that the Democrats are the party of the establishment, and so you have all these people rioting on behalf of the establishment. How does that work exactly?
There you go.
They're talking about this tour that Tim Walz and others have been on as the anti-oligarchy tour. It's really an anti-populism tour.
John Hinderaker, president of the Center of the American Experiment, contributor to Powerline, powerlineblog.com. John, thanks for joining us. Good luck with your knucklehead governor.
Thanks a lot, guys.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The Overly Dramatic Reading Club. The League of Extraordinary Couch Potatoes. The Alliance of People Who Always Forget Their Passwords.
Do you have a large group?
We have just the table to accommodate them.
The Benevolent Brotherhood of Bad Jokes.
Meet the Benoit table from Penny Mustard.
One table to seat them all.
The Secret Cabal of Not-So-Secret Secrets. The Order of the Mismatched Socks.
The Benoit table is customized with your choice of wood and stain,
edge and apron,
shape and legs.
It's perfect for groups of all sizes, including
the prestigious Society of Random Shenanigans.
And
the International Confederation of Awkward Handshakes.
And
the Society for the Sincere Appreciation of Unnecessarily Long-Winded Club Names.
Are these clubs real?
Pay your dues and find out.
The Benoit Dining Room, starting at just $61.98 at Penny Mustard.
7 locations throughout Chicagoland.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Whew, that sure was money, Lisa. Hey, speaking of, did you ever figure out what to do with your parents' old coin collection?
Not yet. I need a reputable dealer to appraise them. I have no clue what they're worth.
I just finished working on my dad's estate collections. I took it all to Fox Valley Coins. Their customer service was the best. Plus, they're super honest and reputable, but most importantly, experienced. They'll give you the best prices.
Really? They handle estate collections?
Absolutely. Buying, selling, appraising, they do it all. It was quick and simple, and we maintained our privacy. Fox Valley Coins made the whole process easy.
That's exactly what I need. Are they local?
Right in Naperville. They have an easy website to remember. FoxValleyCoins.com.
Perfect. Now let's see if you can return this shot.
Whether buying or selling or just want valuation, Fox Valley Coins is your trusted gold and silver dealer. Visit Fox Valley Coins, 1 light north of I-88 on Route 59 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. FoxValleyCoins.com. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
Across the country, states are embracing school choice and offering vouchers to families to send students to whichever school they want, including private schools. Unfortunately, lawmakers in Illinois have resisted this trend despite all the benefits of private education. Well, we have a solution if you want to send your child to a private school. It's called ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com. It's simple. Just visit ChicagolandSchoolVouchers.com and tell us which private school you want to send your child to. Then we contact the school on your behalf and work to secure a voucher for half off the first year of tuition, typically saving thousands of dollars for families. The program only applies to new students who are not currently enrolled in the school. So if you've been considering sending your child to a private school and thought that it was financially out of reach, go to chicagolandschoolvouchers.com to learn more and start the process today. That's chicagolandschoolvouchers.com.
And paid for by the Sentinel Group. Has video game addiction shattered your family? You're not alone. Today's $200 billion video game industry intentionally hooks kids, fueling isolation, chaos, depression, even suicide attempts. According to a recent American Psychological Association study, compulsive gaming significantly increases the risk of severe depression and self-harm among teens. Your family may qualify for significant compensation. Call now for your free consultation. 800-856-9519. That's 800-856-9519. Big gaming profits while families suffer. Enough is enough. It's time these powerful companies answer for the harm they've caused. This is not a class action. Your family has individual rights, and your voice matters. Fight back, hold them accountable, and protect others from experiencing the same pain. Call 800-856-9519 now. Again, 800-856-9519. Your call matters. Call 800-856-9519. That's 800-856-9519.
AM 560, The Answer.
John, you watching any good series?
Yeah, I'm watching again 1923, which I like. And I can't wait for The Amateur. I can't wait for our next guest to talk about it.
Yeah, I checked out Ridley Scott's new series, Dope Thief. It's on Apple. Mm-hmm. It's only 3 episodes in. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Anyway, we're going to talk about those things, as well as the son of the producer of Snow White torches Rachel Zegler. So that's entertaining. And to help us with entertainment is Christian Toto. HollywoodInToto.com. That's at 7:37. Now we check the headlines.
Good morning. It's 49 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 The Answer Newsroom. I'm Nikki Whaley. The Trump administration is revoking hundreds of student visas. On Thursday, Senator Marco Rubio said 300 or more student visas are being revoked as the White House targets students who express their support of Palestine. Rubio called these students lunatics and said his team is working on repealing more student visas every day. Police in the south suburbs are investigating an alleged case of squatters who are house hopping. A pair of property owners in Hazel Crest say a group of people with 2 dogs moved into their vacant home and wouldn't leave. After paying the occupants to vacate, they saw a story on television about a man in Tinley Park who claimed squatters had moved into his home and refused to leave. Hazel Crest police said the suspects connected with other alleged squatting cases. Authorities are now working with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office to see if crimes of extortion or fraud were involved. News is a service of Salem Surround, providing your business with industry-leading digital marketing strategy designed to surround your target audience and drive action.